Ben Affleck, have to calm down here, and Jennifer Garner's daughter Violet appeared in front of the UN this week to speak about the effects of long COVID among children and the need for clean air infrastructures. There she is there. She's 19 years of age. As you can see, she was wearing a mask and goggles. And in the press, it's kind of sparked a conversation about the growing health anxiety crisis among young people. I don't think necessarily Violet has said that she has health anxiety, but you look at that and you do see somebody who is sort of concerned, don't you?
You know what, to be honest, I'm not surprised. If you think about what we went through COVID, you know, we was, as the parents, was trying to protect the children, but they actually had to live through that. And now that we've come out of it, they're probably still feeling the aftermath. Because I realise, I personally believe that with trauma, you don't realise how much trauma you have until you're triggered by it. I went back to the BBC the other day and I was walking through where I used to have a radio show. And as I got there, I had this
in
really...
the pandemic?
Yeah, where I had it in the pandemic. And as I got there last week, I had this really weird sensation. And I was thinking, oh, well, am I nervous about going on radio? And I realised someone had said to me, oh, you had your radio show here, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, for the whole pandemic, where I had a son that was high risk at the time, you know, I was just starting to really get into TV, so I had to balance between working and that, and it brought back all the memories. And I was thinking, if that's me as an adult who knows how to kind of go through their emotions, and this is like 5 years later, could you imagine the young people, what they're feeling now as well?
It's so interesting you say that, because actually I was at an event the other week in Suffolk with some lovely people from the care sector there, and obviously they really, really went through it, and so we started to talk about it. And somebody suggested, and this might sound a bit crazy, but you know, like, now that we are through it, should we sort of stop and have, I don't know, a bank holiday, a day of reflection, just to give people a chance to see how they felt? Because I suggested this to my kids, I was talking about it, and they went, oh, don't be ridiculous, don't be ridiculous. I said, well, how did you feel about it? And they started to talk and talk and talk. And I mean, I know that I was so keen to put that behind me. I just wanted to, you know...
Forget about it,
put it in the rear view mirror and get walking. But actually, like any trauma, maybe there is a point in time that you should go back and say, that was really rubbish.
It was really...
You know, and just, we're not going to change it, but acknowledge it, you know?
that reflection, I think, is really, really good for all of us to have. We had a unique situation because I was on Strictly, and it was like a completely different experience. But I remember that the whole production and the channel and the BBC, we really felt responsible of uplifting the nation, because it is so hard. It was winter, it was dark, you couldn't go anywhere. So the shows that we were doing were just meant to spread positivity, because those 2 years were so hard for people.
That was a huge pressure to put on you when you think about it in reflection, right? You guys, make everyone forget about it, make everyone have fun.
Not forget, but I think Strictly still has that's what it does.
Escapism.
It's escapism. It's feel-good television. It's glitz, it's glam, it's beautiful. But in a pandemic like that, it helps so many people in so many difficult times.
It did, but still tough for you.
Well, I won. I'm fine. I'm not this woman.
I know, but I suppose there's also the element of we're all aware that some people really, really, you know, they lost loved ones in the most terrible circumstances, and people who worked in our health service and care service had the most terrible time, and another emergency service. So for those of us who just kind of got through it, you don't want to talk about it because
I feel really strongly about this. I think it was a global trauma. If you speak to anyone and we say, like, oh, you know, it was 5 years ago, the pandemic, everyone goes, what? 5 years? No way, no way. Everyone says that, don't they? Because it was like a period of shock. And like you said, Judy, as adults and with our processing abilities that are way greater than our children, and still, if you scratch the surface with us and we think about our friends that maybe weren't able to go to the funeral of their loved one and weren't able to see their old person in hospital, and people that were, like, very ill.
Or giving birth.
Everyone's... All those women that had to give birth on their own. I mean, that is trauma across the board, because even if you had a relatively good pandemic, you knew people that didn't. And we came to the end and we said, that's it. And I've spoken to teachers about that, you know, we don't talk about it anymore. I spoke to teachers about this, and they said it was a real disservice to young people because we are seeing it play out in the classroom, and behavioural problems, because
They're
they've
even
been
upset
told
with their results from their GCSEs. We forget
Everything.
about those children that did their GCSEs and things like that.
Yeah, everything, and we don't talk about it. So I make a real point of quite regularly checking in with my kids about it, actually, and seeing where it might have led them, where it's taken them on a bit of a different path with decisions.
So do you think
and
it
stuff.
affected yours?
Absolutely. I don't think there's a person in the world that in some way was not impacted by the pandemic. You know, our kids are of a similar age, aren't they? Maddie was like 17. That's the time you're supposed to go free and take risks and do all of that. She got really depressed not being able to go out, like most kids did.
Yeah.
You know, and then they were told they got behind, and then they were all told to rush to make up time and to get back on the schedule of your GCSEs or your degree or whatever.
And then go back again.
And there was
out
no
again.
moment of breath where we really talked about it.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, maybe now that it has kind of settled, it would be the time to
would
sort
be.
of say, do you know what, we can go back and just acknowledge.
Just recognise.
It was really tough.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what you need just to go forward, isn't it?